Hey everyone, welcome back to OCD Recovery's YouTube channel, and I want to talk about a very important topic. And that topic is, are you being given reassurance by the person that you are working with? Now, this is not the easiest video to make because there's many people, unfortunately, who are reassuring people. And I always tell people there's more than likely a good possibility that they're not waking up in the morning and thinking, how can I reassure this person to keep them stuck or give them the drug of choice? Reassurance, I like simplistic examples because it's a little bit easier for people to conceptualize what we mean. So when we are being given reassurance, it is the same thing like a person who's trying to recover from struggling with alcoholism who takes 10 shots. When you're an alcoholic, your drug of choice per se is alcohol. When you are an OCD sufferer, your drug of choice is reassurance and the compulsions. Now, that's not the entire thing that's going on. Obviously, the belief systems are the primary driving factor, but it's intertwined in many different ways. So before I go any further, please hit that subscribe button. Please let me know right now down below if there's reassurance things you'd like to see me cover, other things you're wondering about when it comes to reassurance, because reassurance is very sneaky. Reassurance takes the form in tone, body language, the quickness of messaging me after we have a coaching call, the way you ask, how long you ask. So to the untrained eye, and I mean 99% of people, they will give you reassurance because they don't understand fully the depths of reassurance. And the reason why it's so difficult to understand is because OCD is not easy to understand. The surface of OCD is easy to conceptualize. The deeper you go into the nuances, the morphing, changing themes, the new symptoms, the convincing of 0 to 100 usually needs to be experienced for that person to actually understand how it operates. It's just not as simplistic as a lot of the OCD posts make it out to be. But again, nothing against anyone. It's not easy to understand. So let's start with the most basic reassurance statement there is out there. The one that I hear the most, the one that people think, for a long time, a lot of the books on OCD, the old school books that are quite mainstream, they use this approach if they didn't use this terminology. And I'm going to explain to you on why it doesn't create the distance that we're looking for. And that is thoughts or thoughts. I see that on a daily basis still, which is very unfortunate. Now, if you break down what a thought is, let's say you have harm OCD and you have the fear of losing control and harming someone you love. To say that a thought is just a thought will not touch anything with morals and values, a false memory, real event, severe fear of breaking up with your partner, any type of fear, the fear being stuck forever. Now, a real event, it doesn't do anything. And the reason it doesn't do anything is because that fear is real. So how could you tell someone a thought is a thought when the action is real? Let me give you a great example. My father died of cancer almost 5 years ago. If I had a fear surrounding losing a loved one, which I never did, because I've accepted that death is a part of life. If I don't die first, my wife will die before me. If I have children, they might die before me. There's no universal principle saying that they must outlive me. And that's a concept that can be broken down, easier to conceptualize, harder to break down, needs good acceptance. So, like I was saying, the thoughts or thoughts approach doesn't touch a belief system. Now, what is thoughts or thoughts good for? Looking at a thought is a thought. Correct. It is just a thought. But there's no depth to it. There's no depth to a thought as a thought. It's a very surface level tool, if you even want to call it a tool. It's good for creating some distance between trying to engage as the thoughts are coming in the automatic rumination that I talk about. If you want to learn more about rumination, please go back a week or so and watch my video. It's almost at 1,000 views, titled What is Rumination and What It Isn't, because rumination is explained incorrectly almost every single time I hear it explained, and why I like to differentiate between analyzing and rumination. I think they're two different things with a lot of overlap, of course. OCD people will try and find that fine line, right? The fine line of, is this the right relationship? Is this the not right relationship? Is this the correct dosage of medication or not the correct dosage? Analyzing and rumination have a gray area, but in my opinion, they have distinct differences. So the thoughts or thoughts will provide short-term relief, but then we have also the fear of the problem of it becoming a self-reassuring statement, where you're walking around all day saying a thought is a thought. Now, as I always tell people, the reason why I explain why disputing on paper is so applicable to the OCD recovery journey is because if you walk around all day and you reply a thought is a thought, what you're actually doing is you are telling yourself in that moment by a behavioral action, by speaking to yourself over and over and over again, that you can't stand the way you're feeling and you need to run from it. Now, it doesn't mean you can't speak to yourself throughout the day. I mean, there's times where I think, as Rob says, you know, like if I'm feeling down about something or having a tough day in business, or, you know, or Eric and I got into a disagreement, hey, this is not the end of the world. There's things you can work on. You can change your belief. But if every single time you feel discomfort or you try to do thought deflection, which is basically the fear of thoughts being present, and you're deflecting that with thoughts, you're not going to make the progress you're looking for because you're trying to force away that discomfort. Understanding that is so key when it comes to OCD recovery. Now, what is the next type of reassurance that people are giving you? You're a good person, and you're the least likely person to do that. I was looking at a big post the other day from a big organization that said research shows that that OCD people are the least likely person to do that. Absolutely fucking nonsense. Total 100% reassurance, because your brain goes, but what if I'm different? What if I'm the one? Now, this is for all the people who might not have OCD, and I know you'll never be able to understand this, just like all of us will never know what it's like to be blind unless we lose our vision. Closing your eyes for a week does not simulate to the depth of being blind, because you know your vision's going to come back. So that takes away that in many ways. Even if it was a year, you knew your vision was coming back. So when someone has a moral fear, say a false memory related to cheating or a real event, that won't lift as simply as telling them you're a good person, you're the least likely. There's no depth to that. OCD recovery requires a total life revamp and a total new perspective on the depth of philosophy, of stoicism, of changing your belief systems, of realizing not everyone's going to like me. Not everyone's going to think I'm a quote-unquote good person, which we know there's not. If you want to learn more about breaking down how there's no such thing as a good and bad person in entirety, please read the third book on the reading list, The Myth of Self-Esteem by Dr. Albert Ellis, especially chapter number 4, Psychotherapy and the Value of a Human. That is a terrific chapter that breaks down. You're not going to read that chapter right away and understand immediately that there's no such thing as a good or bad person, because that belief is deep. It's deep in society, it's deep in religion, in politics, in relationship advice, in money advice, in any advice, school, education. If people operate primarily off agreement means acceptance, where we operate off agreement doesn't mean acceptance. They're two distinctly different things. And watch Kirsty's video on that from a year and a half ago. Tremendous video. So you won't be able to reassure yourself with that. So the fear of being a bad person or you're a good person. The other one I want to talk about, the third one, is I see this a lot with religious OCD, aka scrupulosity OCD. If anyone is telling you that, you know, oh, you're not going to go to hell, or you will go to heaven, so forth and so forth. Anyone with religious OCD, aka scrupulosity OCD, I'll call it religious OCD for the remainder of this example, it will not let you off the hook, because you have such severe conditional self-acceptance. Now, there's so many aspects to breaking this down. Are you compulsively praying? Are you compulsively going to synagogue or church, wherever you may go? You will need to break that down and find a moderation and balance. Going to church or going to mosque or praying is not bad. But if you're doing it compulsively to rid yourself, then it is bad. I always realize how much I talk with my hands because I got the Jersey in me. Yeah, you don't. So it's really funny when I go back and hang out with my friends, and then I come back from being up from, you know, the Northeast, and I'm like, yeah, how you doing? And you just don't even realize you're doing it because all my friends talk like this. So, but I've been away for a while now, so I've lost a lot of it, thankfully, in many ways. But it is always good to have a laugh. But you're not going to be able to get that reassurance you're looking for with religious OCD. That is such a key part of the journey, so understanding that. So let's do a little recap of what we've gone over so far. Most people are giving reassurance. I could go on the most popular accounts with OCD in the title, or just people who talk about OCD, and in 5 posts we'll find numerous reassurance statements. They're just thoughts. Thoughts are thoughts, out one ear, in the other. You're a good person. You're the least likely to do that. The research shows. I did a great video Saturday that's up. I can't remember what it's titled. I'm in the mountains. It's pretty recent. If you find me in the purple thermal shirt, I'm in the mountains. I talk about why the research doesn't predict any sort of a good outcome when it comes to OCD. Nobody's treatment resistant. There's no such thing as treatment resistant. We only have people who haven't worked on their beliefs yet, or people with beliefs that are much more intertwined than other beliefs, right? I don't like pineapple pizza. We always joke about that. That belief is light. I could probably change my perspective very quickly on that if I wanted to. But the belief about if someone murdered my wife would be very difficult. I think I could do it, but it would be hard, very hard. In theory, even just thinking about it, let alone if it came true. And those things are very, very key. So breaking down, looking at posts, asking yourself, is this person reassuring me, or are they giving me the answer I don't want to hear? Now, compassion and empathy is important, but so is the tough love and the sternness of, I'm not going to give you reassurance. Asking reassurance for me is like asking for drugs from the police. It's from Rob's quote. It's a terrific quote. I'm not going to give it to you because I don't want you to stay in that cycle more than you have to. So that is so key. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, ladies and gentlemen. It's very important. Go back, watch pieces of this, and remember, we have a plethora of webinars coming up. If you're interested in those webinars, please email info@ocdrecovery.com. Ask about the webinar services. If you're interested in private coaching, that's in there as well. And we're getting to the point now where the webinars are growing a lot. We're probably going to move over to Zoom, just a little bit more fluidity in the way they run. And those webinars are getting bigger and bigger. I kind of extend them out sometimes. Hour and 40 minutes was the last one, OCD Recovery Part 1. It was a blast. I have so much fun. I'm very, very fortunate on what I get to do. I get to share my stories and talk to you and kind of disprove a lot of the myths surrounding OCD, which unfortunately are prevalent, showing you about my mistakes. You know, this is the gratitude. When I found Rob, there was a few other moderators, but there wasn't that much content on YouTube, right? We have, since I've started making videos, I think I've made 500 videos. I don't even know, a crazy amount. And my goal is to help provide you with the information that can help you from making the mistakes that I made. So thank you so much for watching this video. Please go back and watch this a couple times. And remember, when you're working with someone like Rob or I in the webinars, we're not trying to shut you down if you're asking for reassurance. We're just trying to tell you it's probably not going to give you, when I mean probably, it's not going to let you go and not give you the relief you're looking for, even if it's only short term. Thank you so much again, and as always, have a great day.